Monsoon Wedding is a film directed by Meera Nair, released in 2001. It was nominated for BAFTA Award for Best Foreign Language Film, Golden Globe Award for Best Foreign Language Film, and won British Independent Film Award for Best Foreign Language Film. Hello, this is Team Ajantrik with Khushi, Kaarthik, Srishti, Vidhi, and me Aditi. We will be discussing Monsoon Wedding today. Indian weddings are an elaborate form of union and celebration. They are basically mini festivals that also reflect societal norms. The movie is set in Delhi with a wedding setting.
So one of the things that we see as a major theme in this movie is how there is resentment shown towards the Western and foreign culture. So one example is Lalit calling Rahul as a Firangi or too much influenced by the Australian culture. And then another example is the censorship debate, which we are shown in the very next scene in the beginning, where they're talking about what is the Indian culture and whether things should be included in the Indian culture, and how westernization is influencing them. And so the idea of censorship, and this is also shown with the example of the dub artist coming in and making sensual sounds on live air and calling it westernized and not Indian.
Another another aspect of this film is how it highlights stereotypes in Indian weddings, like the frantic in-debt father, and the father is in debt because the bride side of the family has to take on the financial burden of a wedding. We also see a huge family gathering right before the wedding events start, and there is obviously the very much desired NRI group.
Yeah, and we can tell that the family is upper class because the signs are all there. The father plays golf, and the amount of money that he's spending on the wedding, so much so that he has to borrow money from his own friends. And we can also see that they have a full-time maid, Alice, who also has quarters within their own residence. So I think all of these point towards them being an upper class family.
So the film basically strikes a balance between the harsh realities of life and the hope that comes from genuine connections in family.
Yeah, so from these scenes we can see that there is this sense of romanticization of the burden or the suffering of women in Indian weddings that's prevalent even today in the society.
And I also think that the film examines the practice of arranged marriages in Indian societies. It delves into the complexities and challenges faced by individuals who are expected to conform to traditional family arrangements, where marriage is often seen as a union between families rather than solely between two individuals. The film explores the tensions and negotiations involved in navigating arranged marriages.
Yeah, it's the sense that choosing love is chaotic and arranged marriages are more predictable and safe, and sense of control also for the families themselves.
Yeah. I also feel like the movie highlights like class aspirations, because we see this one scene where Alice is seen trying on the jewelry for the wedding, and I feel to a certain extent it might be ethically wrong, because although she's not stealing that jewelry, I don't know if it's fully correct for her to be trying it on as well.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was ethically wrong, but I feel like it's understandable that she was trying it on. She was dreaming of something that she probably would never be able to have in her lifetime, and that also just because of things that she cannot control.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I feel like the movie also sheds light upon the gender norms that are prevalent, and we can see this, and the father is so lenient and caring and loving with his girls, but the mother on the other hand is really strict with them, and the vice versa applies for the son.
Yeah, and we can see this in the example when it comes to occupation for the boy. When the boy wants to be a chef, the parents laugh at his aspiration of being a chef. And when Ria wants to pursue a serious career in creative writing, they try and push her away from it and try and get her get married.
Adding on to your point, Karthik, when the son comes into the room and the father, mother and the son are having a discussion about the profession of the son, the father actually says that he wants his son to be manly when he grows up, and actually pressurizes him to go to the boarding school when the son doesn't want to go, and pushes him to engage in activities like exercising and playing cricket when the son wants to engage in other activities like cooking, which on which he is being made fun upon.
So what you're trying to say is it basically shows that there's a particular idea of masculinity which Lalit is trying to propagate here, and then the movie is also reflecting on that. The Indian society focuses on this.
Yeah, and I feel like instead of just going and playing cricket, he's more interested in singing and dancing, and like the mother says, he's more interested in the creative aspects, and the father says this really important line, that a very strong line, which is, I want my son to grow up to be a man.
Further, the father also says something, oh फिर लड़के से शादी करवा देते हैं इसकी, which brings on how singing, dancing and cooking are considered as feminine activities, and just because he has some stereotypically feminine attributes, he might be gay. So there is a whole homophobic aspect to this discussion. One other aspect to this film was when Tej was introduced, and we could see tensions between Tej and Riya, and the movie just sort of builds up on what their relation was, which was a very dark part of this film.
Yeah, and it is then later revealed to us that Riya keeps shush about this whole thing for the longest time, and the only reason, I don't think she ever had the intention of it coming out in front of the family, because she felt like no one would believe her, or it was not her place to talk about this, and the only reason it comes out is because it is repeated and it happens to her little cousin.
And also, I love that this was highlighted in the film, because even in real life, a large portion of sexual assaults are done by close family members, or even in this case, like family friends.
Yeah, true. And we also see that when she finally reveals to the family in the driveway scene that about the whole assault that had happened, she's called hysterical and crazy because she's not married, and unmarried women are apparently hysterical and talk about anything that comes to their mind.
Yeah, and also she's kind of forced to keep quiet at first by
Lalit.
by Lalit. Yeah, by Lalit, she's forced to keep quiet and just sort of accept it and live with it, even though later things improve.
Yeah, Lalit chooses to do the right thing later,
Yeah.
but she has been living with it for so many years.
And to be forced to keep quiet is a different kind of horror.
Yeah, true.
One thing that has been bugging me about the movie is the whole male savior act that Lalit has going on for him. Even though he throws Tej out eventually, he has to be the one to do it because he's the so-called man of the family. And everyone else in the family just stays quiet instead of offering their support to Riya. Lalit also begs Riya to not make him choose between Tej and her, as if it's a torture for him to choose, with complete disregard to what Riya might have faced all these years living in such close proximity to Tej.
Some great points, guys. Also, I feel like we can take one particular scene and dissect it in a more technical aspect, where the scene where the young girl is in the kitchen and Tej is feeding her something, feeding her a samosa, but Riya peeps through the or at least from the corner of her eye she looks at the small girl, and I feel like that particular scene, it resembles what an eyeline shot is, don't you think?
I agree. Like, it sort of makes us think what Riya is thinking and hints at what Riya is thinking through the camera work.
Yeah. And I also feel like the film navigates between light-hearted moments and more serious themes like the one we're talking about with finesse, providing moments of levity amidst exploration of weighty topics. This tonal balance contributes to the film's realism, capturing the complexities of life and the range of emotions experienced by its character.
Also, I want to just quickly highlight the fact that the way they've used colors in this movie, So there is this one particular scene where they're I think building a shamiana of sorts, and Dubey first covers it up with a white cloth, and then Lalit gets really mad about it and then asks for a change of cloth to something more brighter, which I think also reflects the sort of the mindset that they are in, because white resembles in Indian culture. White is usually worn when someone dies, so it's
Yeah.
for more sad moments, and orange and yellow are more happier colors.
Yeah,
don't
they
you
are
think?
associated with like happiness, and I feel like yellow and orange are any Indian wedding. Even if this was not a movie, any Indian wedding, I feel like yellow and orange are one of the most important colors because they are associated with happiness. Especially you can see these in the Sangeet scene, in the Haldi, and all the other rasams actually.
And also this thing of it also reflects their state of mind, like I said, where they're using bright colors, like because they even wear bright colors.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to use it as a facade or as a curtain to what they're actually feeling
Yeah, they're
about the
like
marriage.
masking the true depressing lives and there's so much conflict, there's so much going on, so it's truly just masking the true depressing lives of the characters.
Also employs a mix of handheld camera work and static shots, which creates a sense of intimacy and immediacy.
She being the director, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
There is so much more to uncover in this movie in terms of themes and more cinematographic aspects. But due to time restraints, we must end here. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoy watching the movie just as much as we did or did not. Signing off, Team Ajantrik.